Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and before we get going, I want to remind everybody, if you want to join the group, if you want this entire video plus the extended video to have no commercials, you can join the group in two ways. The first way is go to daixrp.com if you would prefer to join through the Patreon, or you can click below this video right here, click the join button, and you can join it through YouTube if that's what you prefer. Today, we're going to be talking about nothing but XRP, well, pretty much XRP price of the market and what people are thinking is going to happen in the market. We've also got an interesting report from a major firm on their XRP price outlook, and it's very interesting because these are big guys. All right, first I wanted to show you this. Look what Uphold put out. This is from the first XRP Las Vegas. When I saw this, I was thinking, man, this thing has gotten massive compared to the first year. I mean, we started at Treasure Island, then the second year was at MGM Grand. This year is going to be at MGM Grand. Bitcoin Las Vegas is going to be at the Venetian for 3 days. Then the next 2 days is going to be MGM Grand with XRP Las Vegas. So you can go to xrplasvegas.com if you would like to go get tickets. You better hurry if you're going to. We've got like 60 something days out, and between the XRP Las Vegas and Bitcoin Las Vegas, it's going to be packed. Here's the video where Brad Garlinghouse and the XRP army had a little pow-wow.
I've said to a bunch of you as
and the cool guy makes a special appearance, which was classic.
Have bet and I'm tonight. I'm here to thank you, and I appreciate that you're thanking me, but I'm here to thank you for all that you have done to support this effort. Truly, it does take an army, and this army has been incredible. We're gonna win this thing.
That was a classic. Okay, yesterday they had the digital chamber, what do they call it? DC Blockchain Summit. There's all kinds of interesting clips. This is Caitlin Long talking about how they were debanked or Operation Choke Point 2.0. And what's amazing about this thing is how many Congress people were there. I mean, the tide has completely shifted in favor of digital assets.
We were debanked 5 times in 18 months. 5 times. The Federal Reserve targeted my company, tried to kill us. And there's a debate whether this was retaliation for us daring to pursue our legal rights in court against the Fed, because almost nobody ever sues the Fed. Because I haven't heard of anybody else who's been debanked 5 times. No, in none of those instances due to anything we did wrong. We have a clean, pristine compliance and operating history.
So that's Caitlin Long. This is Warren Davidson, who, I mean, this shows you how old we're all getting in this game. I can remember showing Warren Davidson videos when he's in Congress, and he did not have gray hair at the time. It's been a long, strange trip.
So you look at what has happened in the last 12 months in this space, it inherently realized that politics is becoming the barrier to growth and innovation in the United States. And you know, it's an old saying, you can ignore politics, but that doesn't mean politics will ignore you. And people found that. They were being debanked, they were being shut down and shut out of the market, and now they're going to be ignored no longer.
Okay, then this is Senator Tim Scott, the one from the picture with Brad Garlinghouse.
The one thing that's motivated me in public service is thinking about the challenges my mother had meeting the simple obligations of life. You hit a light switch, you want it to come on, but if you don't have enough money, it doesn't come on. The whole theory of democratization, making it easier for her to pay her bills, to have access to the financial system. I look at the lessons taught to me by my nephew, little Ben, about the crypto world and how democratization is embedded in the notion of digital assets. And if I wanted to do the right thing for those single mothers working hard, for those Americans who look at the American dream and really wonder, does it really work in neighborhoods like mine? This opportunity is once in a lifetime.
I like it. He's right. And then this is Representative French Hill.
This goes way beyond finance. We're talking about finance and what's a tokenized dollar-backed stablecoin payment and how one uses blockchain in a financial function and how one can apply tokenization of real-world assets or decentralized finance, because that's what we do. But there's a whole world out there that was my opening comment, that's the forest, not trees in the forest.
Yeah.
That is the use of blockchain operating systems to, as I say, lower agency costs, lower friction in the system, increase documentations, be able to do programmable work to, I think, benefit both consumers in a military context and in an industrial context. I see it every day. People aren't talking about it because they're afraid of being attacked by some federal regulator. And so that's why I'm so pleased that we have a change in tone in DC and that we can do our work in an effective way. And if we're successful, then the application of blockchain way beyond finance will be even more successful.
Oh me, there's so many good clips from this thing. This is Senator Gillibrand.
I just want to recognize the moment we're in. We are in a moment where we are building bipartisan consensus in the U.S. Senate and in the U.S. House of Representatives. That is an unusual thing when you're talking about an issue of first impression, something so important as building a regulatory framework for a growing and innovating industry. And if you just look at the last few votes, we had a committee hearing in the Senate in banking, widely bipartisan support. Several of us wrote the bill and continued to edit it through the markup. It is a very strong bill. It has a lot of protections. It is going to create rules of the road for stable coins. Simple things like you have to be one-to-one dollar backed. You have to have oversight by federal and state regulators. The regulatory frameworks have to be similar. And there are yearly reporting requirements. So it really creates safety and soundness. It creates protections against money laundering and illicit finance. It creates, to make sure there's no race to the bottom, that there's a regulatory floor, which is very important. And it really uses common sense.
All right. So, and then we have her partner in, they've been working together. I'm going to skip this one because it's nothing but a Bitcoin. There's other things I'd like to show you. Now, this is interesting. This is the Tether CEO. He was there. Listen to this.
With blockchain technology, actually, everything is there. You cannot tamper with the history of transactions on blockchain. It will remain written in a blockchain forever, for the next 2,000 years. So it's always possible to track information and law enforcement to act very swiftly and effectively. In fact, I think that our average time to impose a freeze when we corroborate the information coming from our partners and law enforcement is like 20 minutes up to 1 hour. So I think we are very fast, very effective, and that's how you actually dissuade bad actors to use the ecosystem. One thing that very simple way, almost Italian way to say it is like, using blockchain technology and stable coins to do criminal activity, you mean you are a very, very stupid criminal, right? And that's something that I'm very comfortable to say.
Okay. Now, it's easy for him to talk about all that, but until I see a Tether full history audit, I don't want to hear about criminal activity out of that guy. And I'm not saying he did anything. I'm just saying That thing's been offshore for a long time, and I've shown you the foundations of how that thing was created, its proximity to FTX, and the fact that Deltec Bank was there in the Bahamas right with FTX, that was Tether's bank. There's a lot of things to be reconciled, and they can only be reconciled with a full history audit all the way back. He just said you can go all the way back for 2,000 years. You'll be able to go back. So that means you can go back to Tether's founding. All right. Wyoming is launching a stablecoin. This is another interesting thing that came out of
To that extent, we have a bit of an exciting announcement to make here. As of today, the Stable Token Commission has formally engaged Layer 0 as our token development and distribution partner. And we have stable tokens, Wyoming stable tokens, on several test networks already, 7 of our candidate blockchains. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But we're incredibly excited to have the support of the Layer 0 team. And we're excited to have testing underway. So with that said, Governor, we're already getting to the deep end on what Wyoming is doing in issuing tokens. Tell us a little bit more about Wyoming's tenure in the cryptocurrency, blockchain, digital asset space. Since 2016, there's been 70 bills put forth, 40 of them enacted, the majority of those under your tenure. So why did Wyoming get involved in this space to begin with?
Well, I think part of it is just the fact that we have the right ecosystem for development. It's a government that's fully accessible. We can turn on a dime, we can make things happen. And back in 2016, we had a number of people who came to some of the legislators and said, here's a new opportunity that we should look at. Can we do something with DAOs? Can we do something with what we call a speedy bank, special purpose depository institutions? Can we start to engage broadly in the crypto and digital asset?
Okay, today is the day. Paul Atkins' nomination hearing is today. This tweet's from last night. So that's going to get pretty interesting. Look at this. Ripple, Africa's payments landscape is evolving, and crypto-enabled transactions are at the center. This company right here, Chipper, Cash, and Ripple are teaming up to enable faster, more cost-effective cross-border payments in Africa using Ripple payments. That's exciting. This is exciting. And Interactive Brokers is expanding its altcoin offerings to include XRP and these other tokens. Platform has enabled trading and all these things since 2021. BRICS is considering new cross-border payment system. Go figure. And that goes with this like cake and ice cream. Listen to this from Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary.
Dragging their feet on the ceasefire deals that have been discussed, both in his conversation with President Putin and then in this news yesterday about an agreement for a ceasefire in the Black Sea between Ukraine and Russia. And one of the things that has surfaced, Secretary Bessent, is that Russia would like to be put back in the SWIFT banking system, the international banking system, as part of that agreement. Is that something that would be palatable to the president or to you as part of those discussions?
Well, look, Martha, I think everything's on the table. And as you mentioned, part of the national security effort that Treasury does is through the financial operations, is through our sanctions, through sanction individuals, banks, or countries. We have a maximum pressure plan on Iran. We have a maximum pressure plan on the Houthis, and it will be determined by Russian leadership's next moves, whether the sanctions go up or down. And President Trump, I think, would not hesitate to raise the sanctions if it gives him a negotiating advantage.
All right. It sure does feel like all the geopolitical things are lining up for the world to be back on SWIFT, and then the digital system to plug into SWIFT, and all of a sudden the world becomes interoperable. Now, who's been working on all of this? Think. Okay, we're going to go into DAIXRP.com, which is the Patreon. And reminder, if you'd rather join through YouTube, it's the cost of a cup of coffee. If you'd rather join through YouTube, just click below this YouTube video, click the join button, and we're going to talk about, there's predictions about the market, predictions about XRP's price, even from a major company in this space. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.